Hello, ActiveSage here on the Sage channel, and a pretty notable update came out today for Space Engineers, which added, you guessed it, dedicated servers, and indeed most of you did guess that that was on its way. Now there are two ways to join a dedicated server. First off, you go to View right up here in your Steam, you go to Servers, and it brings up the server list for all your games, and then you can sort this by game. So I'm just going to press S on my keyboard to get to the S games, and there we go, Space Engineers, click that, and voila, these are all dedicated servers. And now look at that one, 0 out of 32. Let's go ahead and join that. You click connect, this thing pops up here. There's actually another screen that popped up with some brief server information, but it disappears so quickly you don't really have a chance to read it. And this just really quickly launches the game. I'm going to cut ahead because sometimes this can take, a few minutes to launch, it seems. There we go. It didn't actually take a few minutes. It actually took probably about 20 seconds or so. Here we go. Now that the game is launching up, the first thing it does is go straight into the joining world thing, where it'll then, there we go, download the world and load it up. Nice and simple. And voila, or voila, I guess it's actually pronounced, but anyway, here you go. We are in whatever that world was, and it actually looks to be an empty world. Strangely enough, I am the only one on here, and it is a survival world that is completely empty. Dear God, how are you supposed to survive here? Anyway, that's one way to join a world. The other way, and I'm just exiting there, would be to join world here on the left, as you usually would be. This will load up the server list, as it usually does, of servers or worlds that are being hosted by people. And you can see here, this one takes a very, very long time to load through the whole list of people. And then at the left side here, you'll see the Friends Games compatible versions and dedicated only. You can click dedicated only, and once again, it takes a while to load up all those servers. And there we go, now they've all loaded up, and there are a fair few of them now. And you can join one of them simply by going over to it and clicking it and joining. Now I'm not going to do that one right now, because there's something strange about this, or not really strange, but it's early days on, but there doesn't appear to be a way to have a friends-only server. You can set one up when you're setting up the server, but if you look here at under username, it actually just shows dedicated no matter what. You can see that all the dedicated servers are all just called dedicated. So if you have a friends only server, it's not even going to show up in this list because of course it's being hosted by what the system believes is called dedicated, or at least it seems to be that way. I haven't found any workaround for that. I could be wrong. If I am, please say so in the comments and I'll toss an annotation in. Is there one on screen? Only you know, and future me. I don't know, maybe it's been sorted, or maybe this video is now a few months old and this issue is completely irrelevant. Anyway, that's that. Also, the game mode is apparently taking a name that people are calling it. It's not actually taking the actual game mode or, survival or creative. That's just whatever people call it. Whereas oftenly, unless they have set up or change the file name of the world they're playing on, it'll have the created one. They have to manually pretty much change that. There's no way to change that as far as I can tell in the actual server setup. So you're going to see a lot of created on and dates until people go ahead and change it. So anyway, let's just go ahead and click on a world and join it up just to prove that we can also join from this. I just double click there, voila, joining world. And that one gave me a wonderful error, which is unfortunate because now we have to do join world again, which means we have to wait for this all to load up. So every now and again you do get that error. I bet you that server was actually down. It probably shut down shortly after I tried to join it. Or maybe they did find a way to have a friends only one and it just doesn't show up as friends only. So anyway, there we go. Let's just not bother sorting it by dedicated. Let's just look for the ones that are username dedicated, find an empty one, there we go, and join it. Actually, haha, did you see that? That one does say friends only there when I mouse over the game mode. Now, it does, that's probably one of those things where they just typed it in there, but let's go ahead and try it and see if it just boots me. Alrighty, so rather unfortunately, even though it said friends only, I have somehow gotten onto there. I'm pretty sure that person's not on my friends list. So, looks to be friends only, even though that person probably just typed it in there, maybe even had it set, the system still took it as public, and has somehow, from the looks of it, let me in. Slightly unfortunate, and yes, it has indeed let me in. Yes, fully in. Bit strange. Issues that I have seen in multiplayer, not many. The lag, I have seen the rubber banding, but if somebody's got a good machine and internet connection, it does actually seem to do a little bit better than just normal multiplayer hosting. It's actually pretty impressive. There were a lot of missile fire on a earlier map I was on. I was really impressed with it all. I was pretty blown away by it all. Let's really quickly go ahead and do a test on one of these dedicated servers. If I can, oh, that's no good. Why did you eject me? Let's go ahead and try to find a dedicated server in creative mode. So really quickly, once again, to the join world. Alrighty, so here we are in a multiplayer world. And really quickly, I just want to do a really simple test to see if they fixed any of the desync issues we were getting before. So to do this, I'm going to hop into this vehicle, disable all of its systems, and yes, we're on a world hosted by the good old Tazu, and going to fly up over here and just see if we can grab this disabled ship with the landing gears. And of course there was an accident with Tazu, what am I saying? And let's just see, can we push it? Already I can see that it looks to be there are still some desync issues, but I have managed to grab it. And slowly it's being slowed down. Let's see, can I move? And that juddering is something you definitely don't get in single player, so I'd say, yeah, there's still some serious issues to be had about desync. Oh yeah, and we're being pulled in a strange direction. Yeah, yes indeed, some strange issues. Anyway, that's about it. There's one last thing I have to show you guys though, and that's how to launch the dedicated server. You don't have to do some port forwarding if you actually want to get it going, but I can at least show you the basic setups of it, and yep, that's definitely still broken. Jesus. Yeah. Alright, so here I am back on my desktop, and I'm really quickly going to go over how to run one of these dedicated servers. Now, you will have to do some port forwarding stuff that is beyond me, so you'll have to look at the official dev stuff on how to do that, and also probably look up your router and exactly how to open up those ports and all that. But the basics of this are in your program files, x86, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Space Engineers, where most of the stuff that you do edit if you're doing custom stuff is, you'll see that there is a dedicated server and dedicated server 64 for a 32 and 64-bit version. And we're going to go ahead into the 64-bit version. They're both the same. You find the Space Engineers dedicated. By the way, when I say they're both the same, I mean the file layout once you're in here is. And then when you double click on it, this thing pops up. And the first thing you're going to want to do is click run as admin, and then click yes on that. Voila, it reloads it as admin. And this is your basic server here. And you're probably not going to want to use this one. What you're going to want to do at this point is add a new instance. And an instance is basically your new server. And so new server, voila, hello new server, how you doing? Brand new baby server. And then you can go to continue to server configuration, click on that. And this screen here pops up, and here you can up your inventory size and all this stuff to do some fairly interesting things. I think it might be limited to have a certain set amount, so you can't overclock these things too far, but it's basically all of the stuff that you would have on your normal server. So if you want to set your max floating objects to 1,000, there you go, you just type in the number, save, autosave, all this. And of course we want survival if we're going to play on this, but we're not. And then asteroids, let's go ahead and set that to 20. So there will be a bunch of asteroids if this actually worked. Now of course I don't have port forwarding, so it's not going to work. On the left side of your screen here you can see saved world. So if you have a saved world that you've put in the correct spot, voila, it'll show up here. I currently don't have any saved worlds that I've put in there, but if I was to do that, we could do that by going into %, app data, %, and then going into roaming, Space Engineers, saves, big huge number, and then we could grab like this altman file, copy it, and then we're going to go to your C drive, your normal main drive, program data, and there's this folder in there called Space Engineers Dedicated, and then we can just do paste in here, and I believe that should work. Actually, I don't think that will. I think what you have to do, yeah, it didn't show up, is go into the new server we just made, the saves there, and then we post this here. And now, if I'm right, this should show up. We might actually have to restart it. Let's really quickly just go to here and do a restart. The server is not running very good, so why aren't you showing up? Well, let's go back to instances and then go back into there, and well, there it is. Now it's showing up. Let's just get rid of that first one to make sure it doesn't need to be there. So let's really quickly go back to instances and then back to new server again. Yep, it doesn't need to be there. It needed to be inside the new server folder and inside its save. So there we go. Now we get that one. And now this would show up. And of course, then we can't change the amount of asteroids because we're not creating a new world. If we wanted to, we could do new world and then we could set it to, 444 asteroids in creative mode and whatever else we like. So a whole bunch of stuff you can set up. And then of course we'd like autosave on since it's not going to be manually saved. And then we get over here again. So, well, listen IP, as long as you have this to all zeros like it comes automatically, it's supposed to automatically find your IP or whatever IP it needs. And then for server port, that's whichever server port it's going to be going through. And I'm completely helpless on that. It's, yeah, you gotta open the correct port on your router and computer so that people will be able to access it. a bit insane. And then server name, I believe this is actually what has been showing up as the game mode, and not actually the server name. So, bit crazy, bit silly, but there you go. You can enter what you like there. Ta-da. So yeah, there we go. That's that. And then of course you can do save config. I believe that just saves the left side here, not so much all of this. And then we can do I believe there's supposed to be, yeah, and save and start. And voila, now it's running. Now a strange thing I have been having here, server name, what you like, blah blah blah, is that it doesn't seem to be creating the new world, because obviously a world should be showing up here called created on and a date. But it's not actually seeming to want to make this world here. I don't quite know why. I think it could be because of the amount of numbers there. But watch this. If I do back to instances, and then I go back in here again, it's gone to Altman now. But it hasn't made that new world I just had it set to. So it's a bit strange like that. Very, very strange. Anyway, and I'm assuming Altman probably doesn't have 4,400 or 444 asteroids now, because it would be a bit difficult for it to change that. Okay, so I took that file that I had there and copied it back into the normal app data location for saves, and yeah, there's not 440 asteroids here. There's still the normal amount. So I thought I found a way to change old worlds. Anyway, that's about it, guys. Yeah, this stuff is complex. And, yeah, a little bit behind me, or beyond me, I should say, when it comes to, opening ports and all that. So, you're gonna have to go do some research on your own, or hopefully, somebody else will toss something together, because, man, that ports forwarding stuff, causes me a load of trouble with my router. Anyway, that's about that. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this update. I have found that, it can be a lot of fun playing on those dedicated servers, as long as they hold up, which they usually don't because people like weapons. Anyway, that's that, guys. I'll see you next time.